Hey everyone, it's Nashwauk Steve here, and today I am donning a welding hood because this is my first project that involves welding, which I just learned recently, and I'm going to put to work on this first project, which is installing a post support on a dock. I got this dock recently, and on the shallow end did not have legs on it, and we're going to put wheels on there, but I needed to add a dock support like that, and so I went ahead and did that. I'll show you what it looks like here, and then the parts that I used. So here we have the piece that I bought from Menards, the actual pre-made galvanized like post clamp, and then I have some flat bar in here that I welded onto the dock itself to make a support, and then some 1.5-inch galvanized pipe right here. My welds are not pretty, they're more utilitarian, but that's what they look like. And over here too, see some more of that. Should do the trick. And now I'll show you the parts and materials I needed for this project. Like I said, I needed some 1.5-inch, 1/4-inch thick flat bar, the pre-assembled post support, 2-part one there, and then all the hardware that goes with it. This is the actual clamp bolts that go in there, and there's some other bolts that will go through here. I don't bother about those mounting bolts because I'm going to be welding it. You need regular old welding stuff, some metal clamps, some wrenches for tightening the bolts, tape measure, pencil for marking where it's going to go, and then the standard chipping hammer and something to grind off the welds and welding gloves. So that's what I do. I'm going to go ahead and show you where I started this one. I'm going to flip the dock over and kind of do on this side here a mirror image of what we have up here on this side, so you can see how I went about doing that. Because there's no support here on this part of the dock where I'm working, there's a couple holes here, but that's going to be not where I want the poles to go. I have to do something else there to connect another piece of dock. I put the 2 pieces of flat bar here. Give a little gap down below so there's plenty of room for me to put a weld in there. And the same on the bottom, there's actually a little gap there too, so I can get a weld in. And then I just mirror imaged what I did over there. You can see on that one, took those measurements and copied them over to here. And then using this plate as a template, I set it in place. And then I could mark this center hole on either left or right side there so I know where to drill. That's another tool you're going to need, is some sort of drill bit that can get through a fair amount of steel. I bought one that was intended for metal use, and start with like a 1/8-inch pilot hole and then put that on it, and it really goes pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, I'm here in my shop with these 2 pieces of steel. You can kind of see I've got them marked right and left. It's really hard to read, but it's marked there, and then I've got my marks there and there that I'm going to drill in. The first thing I like to use is this center punch. It's got a heavy spring inside of it, so when you push it in, it makes a fairly decent mark in the steel. That's a good place to start the bit. So I'm going to put it here in this center of this one, and then a couple times I'll just get a video of it there, click it in place, and you can see it leaves a mark there. The same thing on this one, right in the middle. Give that one a 3rd one. So that should be enough to start the 1/8-inch drill bit that I'm going to use to get a pilot hole going on these. I just started the bit in there a little bit so I can have a little room to put oil in there just to help dissipate the heat on that bit. I put a drop of oil in each one of these. That way, as that thing heats up, it's going to get rid of some of that heat anyway through the oil and hopefully not overheat the bit. Otherwise, we'll break the bit, which I've done before actually on this project. So yeah, try to avoid that if you can. And set it as short as you can so that you don't have a lot of flex when you're drilling. We'll keep drilling these out. All right, I got through there with each one. I'm a little bit worried about this one that it's so far off center. I'm gonna put a 1/2-inch hole there so it may be too far to the edge. We'll see what it looks like. So now I chuck up the big Milwaukee metal drilling bit. Got a 1/2-inch bit there. I'll kind of do the same thing. I'll get a pocket going with it, and then I'll put a little bit of oil in there too just to keep it from overheating. Here we go. Okay, that's what it looks like. After just a couple seconds of drilling, this bit's pretty amazing. Put a little oil on the edge here. Keep it going. And I want to show you what it looks like as I drill this thing, because it's pretty impressive how fast this goes through with this bit. Let me reposition the phone here, see if we can show you that. Of course, my battery's going bad. Let's try that. Take 2. Anyway, that's pretty much through. Now I just gotta kind of work through that last bit there to punch it through, but it goes pretty quick. It's a nice drill bit to use. The first piece of flat bar that I had, slid it in here and clamped it at the markings that I made on the side over here, so I knew exactly where to put it. Then I just went ahead and threaded on the first bolt there to hold this pipe support in place. And now I'm going to go ahead and slide this piece back behind there to see where the hole lines up, just so I make sure I've got it where I want it before I clamp it in place. That way I know everything's going to fit and I don't have any concerns about holes not lining up once I'm at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in and kind of get it all bolted together and clamped together, so then the next thing we can do is weld it up. Okay, my flat bar and the pipe support are all in place. They're clamped on right where I want them to be. So now the next thing I'm going to do is turn this dock up on end, so it is all the welds can be flat horizontal welds, not anything vertical. I'm not that good yet, so I'm going to go ahead and flip that up and do some welding and see how this thing turns out. Okay, not my best work ever. Got a rod stuck in there, it wouldn't come off. Got my tack kind of over here just so I can get my clamps off. So not pretty, but it'll do the job, so I can get these clamps out of the way. Cut that dumb rod off of there, and then go ahead and finish the welding. I'm going to weld the rest of this flat bar onto the frame of the dock here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a bead right in here along this bracket. I'll take this top part off and just weld the bracket onto the flat bar, and that'll be where I stop welding. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll see how ugly it is. Here we go. Okay, we're going to call this welding job complete. It, like I said, is pretty poor, but I think it will be structurally sound. Looks like there's a lot of metal on there. So again, this is like my first welding job, like pretty much ever. I guess there was one before that, but so that's what we've got. Now we just put the top part of that support on, throw some bolts in there, and we are looking ready to put the pipe through. And there we have it, folks. There's the new pipe support all welded up with the pipe in place there, ready to be tightened down to the right height to match that one back there. And that is pretty much it for this project. Next thing I'm going to do, if you're interested, is put on some wheel adapters there with an axle, which is over there, and put on some plastic wheels, which one sits over there. That's it for this though now. The rest is just bolt this stuff up. It shouldn't be a big deal. The hard part is done. So I hope you learned something on the video and it helps you save a few minutes in the future. Thanks for watching.